Okay, let's do it. I'm Rick Munn. This is No Risk, No Reward Media live stream tonight, Thursday, just check the date. What's the date? The 26th of June, 2025. Hopefully we'll get a few heads in here tonight. Everyone is welcome. Just be respectful to each other. If you're leaving comments, feel free to disagree with each other. Feel free to disagree with me if you want, but keep it respectful to a degree, if you don't mind. I still don't have any moderators for this channel. I'm still feeling very daring. So, yeah, give me a break, guys. Don't be going hard at it with each other on the comment section. I know you won't. But just a little housekeeping before we get started. So I have a little message already from Mary. Hello, Rick. Hello, Mary, to you as well. Johnny White is in the house. Welcome, Johnny. Breen Irwin. How you keeping, Rick? I'm keeping pretty good, actually. Keeping pretty good. Quite healthy, given that I don't lead a particularly healthy lifestyle, but I'm working on it. Thanks for asking, Brain. Kitty says, hey, Rick. Hey, Rick. Hey, Kitty. To you too. John O'Brien is in there. It's very weird when these live streams start. There's no one here. So you're looking up at the top of the screen going, is anyone going to join? And then eventually people start popping into the chat as they are at the minute. It's just going mad already. So Catherine Purcell, Rick, we really appreciate your work. God bless you always. Likewise, Catherine, very nice comment. Sovereign News says hello. All, let's get the chat going indeed. Robert Stoker, greetings from Bantry in County Cork. Thank you, Robert, for tuning in. Always nice to know where people are from. Leave a comment, by the way, folks, also where you're from, because I know some of your names and I have a rough idea where you're from. So if you don't mind, you don't have to do it, of course, but throw a little location in there as well so we can get a flavour of who's listening from where. So Bantry, County Cork, that's the furthest afield, I think, in the live chat at the minute. Oh, Triple M is tuning in from Dublin. Oh, no, sorry, from London. Canada. MF Dixon from Canada, I think you're coming in from. Brilliant. Evening from, it looks like, already people are flying up the chat. Waterford, Limerick, City West. John O'Brien, I'm going to be talking about City West tonight. Erin Gobra from Donegal, welcome. Shane Day from Dublin. Frankly Tanky from Plymouth, the home of the Janner. Darren of Plymouth. Do you know Darren of Plymouth? Frankly Tankley. Thoroughly decent chap altogether. Patricia Delaney's coming in from Cushendall, from the Doll, not the Doll in Dublin, but the Doll on the Antrim coast. Yes, the Doll, Cushendall, beautiful little place up the Antrim coast. Swords in Dublin, County Glasgow, Lurgan, what a place to be, eh? Lurgan, someplace. You need to be a tough lad coming from Lurgan. Derek McCullough, I would have thought, yep, God bless you. I used to live near Lurgan, a little place called Marlin for about 8 years. So you'll know Marlin. Mouse from Middlester, the beautiful Cookstown. Good evening to you also, Mark. Donegal, Mayo, Gary. Evening, Rick. Would it not make more sense protesting up at the government buildings than O'Connell Street and along the quays? Well, it could well do, yes. But I am not privy to organising protests, and I suppose you could say a lot of people would agree with that statement. I'll just highlight it here, just so people can see it. Would it not make more sense to protest up at government buildings in O'Connell Street and along the quays? Many people would agree with that. Many people would disagree with that. Some people don't like the parades on a Saturday. Some people don't like them on a Sunday. Some people think they should be midweek. Some people think they should be rolling vehicular protests like we're seeing at City West. I suppose DLBIA 95, it doesn't matter where you hold a protest or who goes to it. Someone will think there's a better way of doing it, which there might be, but I don't know. Maybe they could do both. They've already done O'Connell Street twice now. or many times before. Maybe next time could be a walk on, or a walk. Yeah, a walk to the doll. So yes, it's as good a suggestion as any. Diamond Girl is in the States. Whereabouts in the States are you? Diamond Girl, West Coast, East Coast, Nebraska, somewhere in the middle. Let us know where you're from. Tyrone, County Tyrone, Emerald 90. Donegal again, Paul McKeown. Robert Stoker, a great wise man, once said, "A house divided will not stand." Amen. Amen. In fact, the Bible says, Jesus Christ says that a house divided against itself cannot stand. And if it's divided, its fall will be great. Its fall will be great. So we need some unity. The ditch, someone says in there, your messages just shut up the screen. Texas, Diamond Girls in Texas. I used to do a little bit of broadcasting with a guy in Texas, a guy called Hesher, runs a station called Alternative Current Radio, has an online show called The Boiler Room, broadcast with Patrick Henningsen. He's based out of Texas. He used to do a little bit of communication with the guy as well. A great researcher called Jesse Smith. He's now moved to Mexico from Texas, the Lone Star State. So welcome from Texas, Diamond Girl. Clonmel and the hotel have cost $325 million to acquire, plus interest. State will have to pay for borrowing. Indeed. Nearly passed out when I saw your video of the doctor paying a home visit. The shame just keeps on. Indeed. Indeed it does. And you know, this stuff's happening at the minute. It's happening. These aren't old stories. There's some people like to dig up old stories, say, do you remember this? Do you remember that? That's fine. But I try and keep it as relevant as I can and as up to date as I can. So this stuff's actually going on this week. Fergal is in Limerick. Welcome, Fergal. Vaughan Malone, the Midwest US or Midwest of Ireland. Mary is in Cork. Beautiful spot. The day I went down to the protest in Cork, it's the first time I'd been in County Cork for about 30 years. And it's changed a little bit, but still a very, very beautiful place. Rick, can I ask if you heard the Nolan show today about the Seine? I didn't hear that. I didn't hear the Nolan show, no, and I don't know what the Seine is. Expound on that one if you can, please, Derek McCulloch. What happened to Kieran Boyle? Not seen him in years. I don't know who Kieran Boyle is either, so forgive me for my ignorance on that one. Dry Bloke says, bite ye yourself. How you doing? How's the crack? What's the crack? How's the form? So yes, I'm doing well. What about you? Special needs children. No, Derek, I didn't see that, but I know Helen McEntee's juggling with that hot potato as well about school places and making sure special needs education is properly catered for. How they're going to just do that, I don't know. It was always a very specialized area, at least when I was growing up. You can't just put everybody together and give teachers a few hours training and expect them to do what they need to do with children with special needs, educational needs. I don't know. Why can they live in an ethnically orientated community, but we can't? Says Tom. Not quite sure who that's in reference to. Apologies for missing that earlier comment there, Tom. Mary H says, hello, Rick. Great work you're doing. Thank you, Mary. Hello, to be honest with you. I'm just talking, you know. There's nothing special about it. There's no glitz and glamour. I've got a whack of stories here that I want to bring to you that I'm not able to bring in the course of the day because I have to record the clips that I make. Then I have to edit them a little bit, as in cut the top and bottom off them, then upload them on and get a thumbnail and all done. But by and large, yeah, I can cover more ground when I'm doing it this way. Someone says, can't wait to see your interview with Niall McConnell. I'm supposed to be talking with Niall on Monday night. Coming. It'll be in live stream as well, which will be about an hour, although we might do a pre-record on it. But either way, someone said to me before about, you know, am I a member of a political party? Which I'm not. Or do I get into political parties? No, I don't. I know Niall has a party. Shown the Hearn, I believe, tribe or clan or race of Ireland. I think that's what it means. So I'm not endorsing anybody. I'm not encouraging anybody as such to support them. But if I think someone's doing a good job, at least from what I can see, people come out of the woodwork and say, "Did you know this about him? Did you know that about him?" No, I don't. I don't get into depth with people's backgrounds. I don't have the time. I don't have the patience. And I don't really particularly care because I'm not getting involved with anyone. So I'm going to bring Niall on. He's going to tell people a little bit about his work, because he's doing, as far as I can see, good work with regards to getting out all around Ireland, documenting these protests, predominantly against IPAS centres, live streaming them, doing his own live streams. I believe he's a farmer as well. He's got a young family. He has a newspaper that he works on as well. So the guy's putting in the effort. He's putting in the effort. Which that gets me, gets him some form of respect from me anyway. So anyway, if he's on next week, we'll be talking generally about the work that he's doing, and then you can go on and check it out. And if you like the guy, you want to support him, do it. If you don't like him and you don't want to support him, then don't. It's the same as me, by the way. I feel, you guys are free to watch me, to share my stuff, to give me a thumbs up, to do whatever you want to do. If you like it. If you don't like me, just don't watch me, or give me a thumbs down, or just block me off your channel. It doesn't really matter. Life's too short to get worked up about individuals. So, yeah. That's basically what it is. Gender legislation, EU migration pact, terrorist legislation, emergency powers from Mouse. Yeah, I caught a little bit of your message earlier that you'd sent some stuff through. But no, I haven't got a wee chance to look at it yet, because I'm producing content like my life depends on it. So there you go. Agnes Lynch says, "Good evening, all," and I am going to get into some juicy stories and just letting the chat build up a little bit. Someone says, "Can you answer that question, please, Jason Sharon? Who are you talking to? Are you talking to me? What question are you talking about? Or is it for the attention of someone else? I don't know. Either way, let's see what's been going on. The title here is Clonmel Refugee Village, because it's not just a camp. It's pretty much a village. It might even be a small town by the time they finish with it in Clonmel, County Tipperary. Ongoing Roma feuds, IPAS protests that are ongoing at the minute. Someone there from the chat earlier on is in City West, so this will apply to you. There's also one at the weekend in Drogheda, whichever way you want to pronounce it. I was always taught to say Drogheda, but I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. Dublin GPO, it's another one. You know that they're talking about repurposing the GPO building in Dublin. They want to make it a shared living accommodation / retail space / museum. And Mary Lou McDonald from Sinn Féin is talking about how it's disgraceful what they're doing. They're, soiling the honour of those who fought for Ireland's independence back in the day, as if she has a leg to stand on or can criticise anyone. Drogheda. Thank you very much. Quadruple #Drogheda. Have I got that right? Drogheda. If I've said Drogheda right, give me a thumbs up. And if you're watching this, by the way, and you're sort of enjoying it, give the stream a thumbs up, and don't be afraid to hit the share button and forward it to someone. Stick it into a group. We might have a little spike in viewers if we're lucky. Billy Butcher said, "Look up Lisdoonvarna. What happened to that town?" Yes, indeed. Yeah, they were completely replaced overnight, completely outnumbered overnight. Star Bar Car Park, Drogheda. There you go. Drogheda. I think I've got it. Drogheda. 15-minute cities are next, says Johnny White. Well, actually, Johnny, if you want to get an eye-opener, RTE actually ran a piece this week on the plans for Athlone, where they openly said in that piece that's available on their website that they plan to turn Athlone into a 15-minute city. So when the mainstream or legacy media are saying these things, then you know it's no longer a so-called conspiracy. It has passed into the realm of reality. So there's that as well. Let's see. Let's go into this story to do with Clonmel, and I have actually got some figures here. Thank you very much, Damien, for your support. Thank you for your work. Damien says one of the most important voices in this country. Well, Damien, that may be true. And if it's true, it's a pretty sad reflection in Ireland that I should be one of the most important voices. But maybe I am, simply because, I don't know, either not enough people are talking out or they're not saying what needs to be said. But either way, Damien, thank you very much for your support. It's much appreciated. This is a clip or a little piece taken from Tipperary Live. This was published last week. And the question is, how much each modular home for Ukrainian refugees in Clonmel is to cost? €436,000 on average. 436K. I did a piece on this earlier on. I dug up some figures from the Daily Mail last October, and they were looking in at around 360 to 400,000 pounds. The price in this keeps creeping up. I don't know what it is about quantity surveyors or site managers in Ireland, but boy, they get their figures well wrong when it comes to, well, budgeting for costing and maintenance and labour on major building programs like this, or like the Children's Hospital, or in this case, a Ukrainian refugee village in Clonmel. Kiki and Jasmine, greetings from Florida. Florida? Are you on holidays? And if so, enjoy your time away. Enjoy your break and enjoy the sunshine. I'm sure it's beautiful over there in Florida. Kiki and Jasmine, thank you for that message. So 436K on average. First modular homes in Tipperary for Ukrainian war victims. You know, do this one thing. If anyone that you're talking to in the, outside of those in the know, and they're talking about how Ukraine is torn apart by war, just go on to Airbnb. Go onto the Airbnb site, okay? And when you go onto the Airbnb site, just look up, just put in Ukraine. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of homes and properties available that you can go on holiday in Ukraine. Ukraine is a huge country. It's a huge country. And if you are fleeing from war in the eastern part, in and around Kiev, in and around the Donbass area, just move west, move towards the west. The country's huge, and most of it hasn't even been touched by any violence whatsoever. And in fact, I'm going to put a sign up here. There's a comment here, Tina Tickety Boo. Absolutely fantastic name, by the way. I live across the road from the IPAS site in Clonmel, and it scares me. The protests did not draw sufficient numbers. I cannot help feeling angry over that. Yeah, interesting, Tina, because I can remember last summer, I think it was last summer, I saw the protests that were happening down in Clonmel, and I know the site work was stalled very, very briefly. Then it resumed again, and the support didn't seem to be there in mass numbers to, divert this somewhere else. Maybe the site was just simply too big. This was not a single residence or a local pub or a local hotel that they were looking to repurpose. This was actually building a purpose-built village or town or camp, whatever way you want to call it. Maybe there's just no way this was getting stopped. I'm sorry to say, Tina. And even recently, I believe there was a protest down there against this still, and the turnout was not particularly good. Is that because people have accepted it? Is it because people don't care? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. If you're in that area or in that position, you can let me know. And also someone has just joined as a channel member as well, you're also very, very welcome. If I can just say also, for those of you who are channel members, don't forget to check the posts section of the homepage on the YouTube page. There'll be a post put up every Tuesday that you can leave questions for me to answer on the members Q&A on a Wednesday, and then check on the Wednesday. There'll be a video up there with the thumbnail is similar to the no risk, no reward logo that you'll see in the top right hand corner of this video. Yeah, click on it and you'll be able to see the weekly video for channel members. So just maybe some of you listening don't even know that's up there, just letting you know. So that's an aerial view of the site that was made last. That was before the work really started proper. Give you some idea of the scale. Following parliamentary question in the Dáil, Deputy Michael Murphy has been informed that works are now nearing completion. Okay, nearing completion at the Rapid Build Programme in Haywood, Clonmel, County Tipperary. So this has been earmarked or designated as a Rapid Build Programme. I haven't seen that terminology applied to any Irish house building projects for non-refugees. Have you? Have you seen any local builds being called rapid build schemes? I haven't. This will bring the final output of the programme to 654 homes nationally, with the capacity to accommodate 2,640 people in Ireland that are fleeing from the war in Ukraine. So 2,640, that's roughly half of the amount of Irish children that are currently living in emergency accommodation, which is ludicrous. Ludicrous. None for the Irish, says Mr. P. Nesshead. No, it would appear none for the Irish. No rapid build programs for the Irish anyway. Holly Hollingworth, fleeing from a war, my arse. Is that our Holly from TNT? Holly, if that's you, give me a thumbs up or give me a wavy symbol there. I'm hoping it is because you were there right from the beginning of my broadcasting career, way back in the day on TNT. Yes, it is, Holly. Lovely to see you on here, by the way. Absolutely lovely to see you on here. And I noticed somebody else had left a message. I think it was Spiritus Mundi. If you're still listening in, hearkening back to my radio broadcasting days with TNT. Anybody else there that remembers me from back in the day? If so, great. If not, well, we're getting acquainted right now. Parliamentary reply for the minister stated site security is an ongoing contact with local representatives of An Garda Síochána, who have been kept informed of estimated occupation timelines. Occupation timelines sounds very military, doesn't it, guys? Very military. So the site managers are liaising with An Garda Síochána. Community engagement in respect of each of the rapid build sites has been extensive. Has it? Tina, you can vouch for that. Have you been extensively consulted in relation to this? And if so, was it just simply lip service that was paid to you and your neighbours? So many people down there didn't want this, didn't want to see this, but yet here it is. Here we are talking about it tonight. And the last text shot to do with this, because some people are maybe joining here from different parts of the world, especially you people in Canada and also in America, in the US, in Texas, in the Midwest. You know, you guys know about people flooding your borders, but proportionately speaking, Ireland is such a small place. You know, population in the so-called Republic of Ireland is about, what, 5.5 million-ish. So we've got a really small population to begin with. So when, you know, hundreds of thousands pushing up to million plus people are coming in here, it's a massive demographic replacement. I think the population of the US is around 380 million. So, it's like 20, it's like you guys getting an extra 80 million, which is mad. It's bad enough that you get 5 million, but getting an extra 80 million is completely banzai. So let's look at this. This is something you may not be aware of. Significant savings will be, after 5 years, will be there for the state. There you have it again, saving money. I don't think so. In addition, as the units have a 60-year lifespan, their future use is central to the programme. So they're talking about future use for this as well. Each of the sites has been developed to be compliant with building regulations, and the units are of sufficient size to allow for alternate housing use. So what does that mean? Housing who? What alternate use? It's built with the sole purpose of being a Ukrainian refugee village. So why are they talking about alternative housing uses? Surely it was built for that purpose. That's the purpose that shall remain, is it not? Because people were worried about turning into an IPAS centre. In addition, each site has roads. Very nice. What are there? Potholes in those roads? Footpaths, street lighting, community facilities, including a play area and green spaces in line with local authority planning guidance. So they have it all, guys. They literally have it all. And if you haven't seen this, this is just a 1-minute clip of the drone footage that was taken over the site. And if you're listening in for the first time, or you're not aware of this village or town camp that's being constructed in Clonmel, check this out. This will blow you away. Look at that area there. Just pause that and take a look at that area right now. And notice as well the density of the housing units, guys. Look at the massive green areas in between the two rows, or I suppose you could say those are two streets, or that's one big street. Is that a fair way to look at it? Look at those units, those long rectangular blocks that look like big breeze blocks. Those are double units. Okay, those are double units. That's why I've paused this here. So the big green area in the middle is a community area, community green space, probably for people to run around on. Maybe have barbecues on it, open air parties, I don't know. You can see the road that's set in here, and there's a tarmac road there, like a large loop. It looks like a Formula One track, I suppose, from above, does it not? Although that's not what it is. These units, you can see them. They look grey in colour, snaking off to the top of the screen. Those are double units, long double units. And you can see at the back of each unit, there's a fence. So those fences are to fence off garden areas. Fence off garden areas, because each unit will have a long back garden. And you'll see other footage here where they zoom in, and you can see that it's all paved. They'll have a small front garden area, and you can also see in front of each of those units there are car parking spaces. So I don't know, if you're fleeing from war, folks, if you land in a place like that, I'd say you've hit the jackpot. I'd say you've hit the jackpot. And if you can bring your car with you, even better. Fleeing from war straight into a house like this, costing at least €435,000 to the Irish taxpayer, and you can bring your car. Paulo says it's just beyond belief. Indeed, Paulo, indeed. But yet here it is, and it's on the verge of opening. Remember, this time last year or thereabouts, that was just a building site, just a cleared area. And now it's on the verge of opening. You can see also the boundary around this. In fact, I'll play a little bit more of this video. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the size of those back gardens, those long back gardens with the nice fencing separating it off. How many of you guys have fencing like that separating you from your neighbor? How many of you guys have fences like that? I've got them for free. Look at this. Now this is also, look. So that's a good paused. This green strip as well. Look, it's planted out as well. It's planted out with little saplings. You can see the trees along the bottom left-hand corner there, planted out for saplings. There's shrubs. This has all been landscaped, folks. This has been landscaped. You can see the big car parking areas, the tarmac car parking areas off the road in front of each unit. They also have landscaped soil flower beds around the car parking, which leads onto a paved area leading into the house. I don't know. Yes, Dry Books has said solar panels on the roof. They certainly look like solar panels to me. I cannot confirm that, but they look like solar panels to me. Put in at huge cost, no doubt. And again, how many of you guys have got solar panels? Holly says, where's the pool? They're probably, Holly, there won't be a pool. There'll be a water park, damn it. There'll be water slides. There'll be whirlpools. There'll be a lazy river, a pool. You must be joking. They'll have a full-on water park. If they're going to do anything, they'll have a full-on water park. So that's a little close-up of the front of these units. And as you can see, as the camera's panning back, look at the site area. Look at that. Look at that building site area where they have all those huge earth movers. They have these containers. They have so many vehicles in there, all feeding into that site. And there's a main road running just along the top of the picture here. You can't see it too well there. And then the people that have been living in that area are at the other side of that. Okay. Let's keep going. Look at that. Wow. So there you have it. That's it zoomed out. This is an important shot. So basically, the bottom half of that screen is going to be for Ukrainian refugees. The top half of that screen is going to be for, well, not for, it is catering for the residents that are living in Clonmel. Brenda, thank you very much for your gift. Much appreciated. Wake up in 10 years. There'll be more of them than you voting. You'll be living under Sharia law or dead. Well, look at this. Just look at this. Now, take note of this as well, guys. Take note of this as well. Look at the density of the housing for the people that are living in Clonmel at the top half of the screen. Look at the density of the houses. There are no communal green areas there. There may be parks in the area. Some of you live there. I know that. I'm not saying that that you don't have access to beautiful places. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that the area above in the top half of this picture does not have a dedicated green space. You probably aren't getting solar panels fitted to cover your electricity, you know, just in case the power goes off. And look at the area to the right. In the middle of the screen, there's like a green triangle there, light green triangle. That land, there's a huge amount of land sitting beside this that has not been developed. Now, I'm not trying to how would you say, fearmonger or speculate on this, but they've picked that site for a reason. And I'm sure if you're living there in Clonmel, as Tina is, you would know that that area has lay empty for a long time, or undeveloped for a long time. And now all of a sudden this thing here is popping up. So is there room for expansion there? I would say 100%. I would say 100%. Like the City West development. Okay, City West has been bought by the Irish state, but they didn't just buy the hotel, which they've already been using for years anyway. Okay, they didn't just buy the hotel. They've bought the conference center and they've bought 50 acres of undeveloped land around City West to expand. I would be shocked if this was the extent of which this will be done here. Okay, I would be shocked. Someone mentioned about a mosque in the area. I do believe they're also building a mosque beside this site. I believe, even though I don't think Islam is a widely practiced religion in the eastern part of Ukraine, I would have thought it was Orthodoxy possibly in there. I don't know. Just saying. But either way, they're getting a mosque. Let's keep going with this. Great drone footage, by the way. Look at that. So look at that big field to the right of the screen here. Look at it. What is screaming out at you? What is screaming out at you when you see that field? Do you really think that that's going to stay empty? Do you really think that that's going to be kept for crops, possibly, or grazing cows in it? Maybe it will. But I would say if there's enough desperation there, there's EU targets to be hit. I'd say that'll get planning permission pretty damn quick. Somebody will get a tasty penny for it. So there's look at the back gardens. Like you can see just in the bottom left here. I'm pausing this and expanding on it because when you watch these videos, usually they're over in a minute, and I'm trying to pick out the details here. So you can see each house has got a beautiful laid lawn. I would say the rolled out turf and grass, put it in there. You can see each house is paved at the back. They have fencing up there, and that definitely looks like solar panels to me on the roof. Mr. D says, good evening, Rick. Good evening, Mr. D. There, look at that. So would you mind living in a place like that? Would you mind living in a place like that? I know if I was in emergency accommodation and I didn't have anywhere to call my own, if I had a small family and I was living with other families in emergency accommodation, sharing a bathroom, sharing a kitchen, no privacy, not knowing who was who, sharing a main bathroom possibly, I would jump. I would jump at a unit like that rather than emergency accommodation. I'm looking for my own house first and foremost. But what I'm trying to say to you is that is a step up from emergency accommodation or a hostel. So either way, the Irish aren't getting these. These are for Ukrainians. Yes, Patricia, patriotic Irish mommy said that would be heaven to some homeless family. Indeed, that's the point. That's the entire point. And yes, it does look like a prison. But if you've ever seen inside emergency accommodation, and you've ever seen what it's like for a young family or a single mother or single father trying to bring up a child or a family in a hostel or emergency accommodation, it's not easy. And if you were in a situation like that, you would probably jump at the chance to live in a so-called container. Because by the way, these containers all have the best of white goods, new washing machines, fitted kitchens, double glazing, lead lawns, tarmac, communal green area, solar panels. I'm sure they're very energy efficient. So a lot of people would jump at these. And as Marianne Knox said, should be for the Irish. Yes, first and foremost, should be for the Irish. Not ideal, but better than emergency accommodation. This. Look at this. Look at that. It extends away up there, right up to the road. So there's the local area. So if you're in one of those houses, yes, Finola, that would be heaven compared to a hostel. Indeed, it would. That's my point. It's not ideal. It's not where you would want to bring up a family ideally. But given the choice between a hostel or that, now look at these houses here. These are nice houses, by the way. Very nice houses in Clonmel. What's that going to do for the house price in that area? If you're listening in, Tina, I don't know. You don't have to answer this question if you're still there. But for anybody that's in Clonmel or living beside an IPAS centre, what has it done to the value of your property? Never mind whether you agree with it or not. What has it done to the value of your property? Have you tried to sell it? Have your neighbors tried to sell up and move somewhere else? Have they been unsuccessful in selling their property? Just saying, give me some feedback and let me know. Have the value, says Holly. Indeed. Well, especially with the way house prices are at the minute, they're going up like crazy. It wouldn't take an awful lot to pop that bubble, especially if more sites like this keep popping up. Steve says, how can you live across the road from them? I'm not sure, Steve, if you're referring to this particular site. Apparently, this site is for families, and some of the families are already living in Clonmel in other accommodation. That's what I've been led to believe. So they're supposed to be families, but if you're generally referring to IPAS accommodations in small towns and villages, no, there's just so many single men milling around there. So that's just a little view of the local area and the size of this site. Look, that digger in the middle of the screen, that orange digger that you've just seen, like that strip that they're working on, where you can see the machinery in the middle of the screen and in this area of earth towards the center. That looks like they're sticking another row of these units in there. And this video was taken, I think this video was taken a week or two ago. So I would say by the end of maybe July, or the start of August, I would say that there's a possibility that these will be inhabited, or they'll probably move them in phases like they do with a local housing development. They'll move them in phases. Those homes don't look temporary, they look permanent for those illegals to stay. Well, they've got a shelf life, Brad. They've got a shelf life of 60 years, we've been told. We've got a shelf life of 60 years. And then after that, they will look at possible alternative forms of accommodation. What does that mean? They're either built for one purpose or they're not. So they're already talking about potentially saving money over 5 years and all this business. So it's a bit of a messy one, this, but it is what it is. So that's Clonmel. While we're on the subject, let's look at City West. Okay, so let's look at City West. I know you nice folk down in the Saggart area. City West, I'll make this a little bit bigger. So there was a protest on tonight. Driving protest even this afternoon, I believe it was, and protest convoy to loop around Justice Minister's constituency. That's Jim O'Callaghan, for any of you that are unfamiliar with the Irish governmental system. Jim O'Callaghan is the so-called Justice Minister. So the protest tonight was to loop around his constituency because of the City West hotel sale. So Jim O'Callaghan received approval for the state to buy the facility for €148 million last week. So again, this figure of 148, that's just the purchase price. Okay, you got to factor in maintenance costs, running that huge operation of City West on a monthly basis or a weekly basis, paying for people to maintain the property, clean and cook. The costs are exorbitant. Costs are exorbitant, folks. So if you're in the City West area and you have any reports on the protest or the drive, I think it was a go slow vehicular protest here tonight, please leave me your comments down below. And speaking of IPAS centres, let's pivot to crime. And this is something that came up as a result of something that happened. East Wall IPAS centre. This is just breaking news tonight. I believe, 26th of June. That's tonight, isn't it? I think it is, yeah. So this is published in Gript Media. An asylum seeker who became verbally abusive to members of An Garda Síochána, as well as the Dublin Fire Brigade crew during an incident at the 2 Gateway Asylum Centre in East Wall, Dublin 3, appeared before a Dublin District Court this afternoon. Algerian Zakaria Hitani, who currently aged 23, who currently resides in Tralee, County Kerry. Any people from Tralee in here tonight? Anyone that knows Zakaria or Zachariah? Tralee residents on 22nd of October 2023 impeded members of the Guards and the Fire Brigade who had attended an incident at the IPAS Centre and refused to leave the scene before becoming verbally abusive. And my understanding of this one is he didn't get any jail time as a result of doing what he's doing. So I'm going to remove that one because I want to add an extra couple of pictures of the GPO business in here. So that's another IPAS Centre incident. And the other thing is too, if you see people that do research in these IPAS centres, the amount of logs, there has to be an incident log every time the police or the ambulance or the fire brigade are called out. The incident logs off of the back of these that I believe you can obtain with freedom of information requests are mental. They're just reams, page after page after page. Some of them are redacted depending on what happened in there, but by and large, you can see the page after page after page after page of emergency service call-outs multiple times over a long period of time to each one of these centres. Some are worse than others, but they're logged and they're suppressed. Staff that work in there, some of them have experienced concerns for their own personal safety. They've been verbally abused. Some of them have been attacked. Security staff have been attacked. I've seen the videos of that happening as well. And the residents are attacking each other, let alone some of them going into local communities and doing the same thing. Ed Breeden, Liz Pepper is in Virginia in the US of A. Indeed, Ed. And thank you very much, by the way, for all the comments that you leave on the video clips that I put up there. Also, and the same for all of you, there's many names popping up here tonight that I'm familiar with from the uploads that I do. So each one of you are welcome here tonight. So that's the state of play with regards to the IPAS centres. Here's an update on the ongoing Roma feud. So many of you may be aware that Balbriggan, having to get my areas right here in case I get my facts wrong and I'm accused of spreading mis and disinformation. So you may be aware there's been an ongoing Roma feud that apparently has been simmering for some time in Balbriggan in Dublin. Well, this is the man that's been charged in connection with a fatal hit and run this week that resulted in further retaliatory vehicular strikes. People in the area are just had enough of this crap. Pictured man appears in court charged over the death of Mircea Rostas in Balbriggan. He's charged with intentionally or recklessly causing serious harm to the alleged victim at Railway Street 3 days ago. Hollingworth says he looks like a right slimy geezer. Holly, shame on you. They say you should never judge a book by a cover, but in this case, I think you're fully justified in doing precisely that. So the guy that he killed is pictured below. Daniel Rostas appeared in Dublin District Court accused of causing serious harm to Mircea Rostas, 33. I imagine that's him below, who died after a collision in Balbriggan. Collision? No, he was ran over by a car. You know, it's not like he hit a lamppost. You know, collision is what it's called now. No, a hit and run. It was vehicular manslaughter or attempted murder or murder. I would think that's just my terminology for it. I wouldn't have called it a collision. Imagine you're out driving your car and you get in and there's a dent in the bumper and your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or girlfriend says, "Hey, what happened to the front of the car?" You say, "Well, I was in a collision." "Oh, okay. What did you hit?" Someone else, person. So anyway, he was remanded in custody for DPP directions after no bail application was made on his behalf. Mr. Rostas, with an address in Hastings Green, Balbriggan, is charged with intentionally or recklessly causing serious harm to the alleged victim at Railway Street on the 23rd of June. So there you go. That's the Roma feud. And, it's insane. I saw some videos that came out very shortly after this had happened, where the bloke was just lying on the street and people were videoing him and the family were running down screaming and they were putting this up on social media. I wouldn't do that. It's because irrespective of who this person was or whether you agree with this person's family, I don't know what their history was in the local area, but the bottom line is, dude's lying there dead. If it was you or your mum or your dad or your husband or wife or kids, at least blank, set some blur over that before you show it to the world. Imagine you're sitting on the train or something, or you're traveling, and you're scrolling through X, and next thing you come to this video, and you're thinking, "Hang on a minute, that place looks familiar. That's where I live." And then you see the body on the ground. You go, "Who's this guy?" And then the zoom in and go, it's Dad. So, yeah, could happen. It could happen. Derek, I'm going to pick up your comment here. Pick up some comments, people. You guys have been typing furiously. Yeah, AFC Steve says, "Rick, you've probably done reports on about 50 Roma crimes this year, at least." I'm really doing a lot of crime reporting here, and you get to know, when I hear Balbriggan, for example, I know there's shady business going on there. You remember the stabbing in Valentine's night of Kwaham Babatunde? The Balbriggan crew were rounded up shortly after that. I think 9 people have been arrested and charged over the murder of this guy who was a Nigerian who was in an IPAS center as well. They said he was a footballer, but what they didn't say was that he was fleeing on allegations of rape from Italy before he landed here and training to become a security guard. Totally mental. Totally mental. But anyway, I've noticed of late that NI local newspapers are now making you pay to see the names of those in court. I reported everyone from beyond this land on my own site, but now I cannot make it clear. Yeah, there's a lot of suppression going on, Derek, a lot of suppression. And I don't know if you've seen this one or not, but there was another attack happened on a young girl of 13 in Downpatrick. I think it was 2 days ago. And another man has been arrested and refused bail, a Filipino worker, for assaulting young girls along with another man. And the police there are moving in to assure the community that he's not being let out. He's going to be really punished because they don't want another happening like Ballymena to kick off up in Coleraine. So there's not many. Listen, there's so many stories, and there's so many goings on all across Ireland. It's not confined to one area. In fact, I'm sure wherever you are listening from, I'm just talking about Ireland here, I'm sure there's stories that you could tell me or send to me from your local newspapers that are even brushed over, that never make it into the mainstream. Never. Because it's happening so much. It's happening so much. So we've got that as well. Let me remove this. Gloria Houlihan says, "Hope the little girls are all right." Well, no, sadly, they're alive. But think about it. When this happens, those kids are traumatized for life. traumatized for life. Not saying you can't recover from it. I don't know, obviously. But I'm saying, it doesn't have to mean you can't function. But if you're a child and you're abused by a man or a woman or anybody else for that matter, how do you get over that? I can't even begin to get my head around that. I can't get my head around that at all. So that's why the most severe, harshest penalty should apply to these people. That's what I believe. What else is going on? Yes, I want to look at. There's two. Well, before I look at anything else, Micheál Martin, just a trigger alert, warning alert. I'm going to play some Micheál Martin here. It's only a minute, but he's in Brussels talking about the work that he's doing in conjunction with the EU. And I'm going to play a little video clip here. And I know he's in Brussels and I know he's talking about the EU, but he doesn't mention Ireland at all. Doesn't mention any of the problems that we discuss here. We're discussing them here. You guys are in here chatting away, sending links through. I said, mute it, Rick. I can't look at him. That's understandable. Unfortunately, I have to listen to him. I wish I didn't, but I have to listen to him. But there's hundreds of people sitting in here listening to this tonight because they want to know what's going on in their own backyard. And I don't have all the stories and I don't have all the answers. I'm just working on my own here, trying to do the best I can with the little time that I have, trying to sift through all the crap every day to try and bring a couple of items to you with a little bit of a commentary on it on the occasional live stream for a supplementary blob of stuff on here. 420 audits. Yes, that's you. It was your video, I think, that I lifted that from. I hope you don't mind, but I stuck it on my community post. So if you're listening in here, this is a channel. Get onto this channel, 420 Audits Ireland. So if you're Irish or if you're not Irish, we've got a lot of internationals on here tonight. Get onto this guy's channel, 420 Audits Ireland. That's it. Just search for that. It'll be the only channel that you'll find, 420 Audits Ireland. I actually was on your channel last night having a look around it, and I saw you were covering the City West protest, walking around with the people in the area doing a Philip wire. So 420 Audits Ireland is doing a good job. He's walking the walk, literally. He's not just talking the talk. So get on there and have a look at his channel. And yeah, it was a pleasure. If I know about these things, I try and share them, but sometimes I leave it too late. I forget about it, or there's that many going on, and communication's not great. Somebody sent me an email, to be honest with you, 420, and I looked it up, and it was a link through to your YouTube page, so that's where I lifted it from. Simple as that. So get on there and show him some love. Micheál, I'm getting distracted. It's a good thing to be distracted from, though, isn't it? Micheál Martin. He's a face for the deep fryer, says Roma Shadow. Shocking altogether. Are there more protests, says Gloria Houlihan? Yes, Gloria, I'm going to get to those in about 2 minutes. Agnes Lynch said, Rick, you're a saint. How do you sleep with all these demons you have to endure looking at? Do you want to know? It's real simple. And this is it's desensitization. When you're exposed to it for long enough, and you're being exposed to it on a daily, which I know a lot of you are, but I really have to sift through this stuff and dig into it in detail and get into the ins and outs and all that crap. I'm not complaining, but I'm saying that after a while, you just shrug your shoulders. It's like, okay, there's been another murder. Okay, there's been another stabbing. Okay, there's been another assault. Okay, there's been another IPAS center. Okay, there's another community destroyed. Okay, there's another governmental scandal. Okay. You just become numb. Sadly, you become numb to it. It almost becomes the new normal. And I suppose, actually, and I'm not banging on about this either, but I had a conversation with Mouse, Jonathan Balfour. Yes, greetings from Kinnegad this evening's. I missed that. Sorry, John, I missed that. So John is in Kinnegad tonight at another protest. That was a great protest he was at last week. That's John Wilson. And John's turning out to be, in my opinion, a very essential, crucial public speaker. John Wilson, he would do well to be given stage time at some of these larger protests, in my opinion. He's as good as, if not better, a speaker than anyone else out there. It's not knocking anyone, I'm just saying his speeches are excellent and he delivers them with a lot of clout and a lot of passion. Roll Me Shadow says John Wilson for President of Ireland. No, I disagree. I'm going to tell you why. John Wilson would be wasted as President of Ireland because it's really a ceremonial role. It doesn't really have that much clout per se. So I'm not being willfully disagreeing with you here. But what I mean is, I think he would fill better roles in other areas. But I'm talking about him as if he's not listening in here. But I love John to bits. And yeah, I can see a lot of potential for him down the line. And because of the state of Irish politics, the Irish nationalist movement, and again, I'm only observing here. I'm only observing. Yeah, it needs solid, let me say this, it needs more solid, wise owl hands in there. More of them. Doesn't need them in there. That would imply that there's none there at all. But I'm just saying, and there really needs to be a coming together. Really needs to be a coming together. But listen, we're on the course now. We've started the ball rolling. We need to see where it's going to end up. So now for the third time, the third attempt, Craftastic says, want to say thank you to whoever gifted me a membership. Much appreciated. Yeah, I don't know who that was, but whoever it was, yeah, you've just made someone's day. So there you have it. So here's Mayhole, right? You can't escape this guy any longer. I'm going to give you some Mayhole, whether you like it or not.
Looking forward to discussing a wide range of issues today at the council meeting. Just come from some meetings with ALDE and the Renew Group. Fundamentally, on the first issue in terms of competitiveness is on the agenda today, and also the whole issue of trade and tariff talks with the United States. Everybody within the European Union is focused on arriving at a negotiated settlement with the United States by the 9th of July, which I think is extremely important to give certainty to markets, certainty to investors, certainty to
despise him is right, Liz,
and industry. Also, I will be pressing very strongly on the issue of Ukrainian accession to the European Union.
So he's out there in Brussels pushing on behalf of Ukraine, to become part of the European Union. Look at this, right? I know this may be dramatic, but look at this. Look at the face on this. He's a face like a well-slapped arse. Look at him. Look at the eyes. Just look at the eyes. I mean, what's there? What's there? What's behind those eyes? There's no life. I'm just saying, nothing to do with his physical features, because I'm no oil painting, all right? But at least when you look in my eyes, I'd like to think, although I'm looking tired and haggard as hell at the minute, all right? I make no apologies for that. I've got bags under my eyes like Mayhole too. I've got furrowed brow like Mayhole. I can squint like Mayhole. But at least there's some kind of life in my eyes, a little bit of a glimmer at least. There's nothing there, folks. There's absolutely nothing there. And he's not a good speaker. He's no confidence in what he says. I don't believe. He has no passion. He has no conviction. Rick, you have a hairline like, unlike Mayhole. Yeah, I thought you said like Mayhole. It was about to ban you from the channel. How dare you? I've still got my own hair and my own teeth, by the grace of God. But yeah, Mayhole has no belief in what he's doing. He knows he's compromised. He knows he's sold out his people. He knows he's a Judas, and he's just dancing to his EU masters and handlers tunes. AFC Steve says, master of puppets. Indeed, master of puppets, pulling his strings, twisting his mind and smashing his dreams. Blinded by him. Yeah, bit of an old Metallica fan, are you? What a classic album that was. Back in the day, back in 86, someone like Martin would never have been around. Never have been around. But anyway, he's nearly finished.
We're not happy with the delays and some countries, slowing down the process. It's a very fundamental issue that speaks to the future of Ukrainians, but also of Europe and the European Union. And Ireland has been outspoken from the very beginning of this that there should be a pathway for Ukraine to become members of the European Union. I will also be raising the issue of the Middle East, and in particular the dire, catastrophic humanitarian situation in Gaza.
So there you have it. You know, he's been talking for what, a minute and a half, and he's just talked about Ukraine becoming part of the EU, and of course he has to turn it around to Gaza. It's like he's holding in a fart there.
And I will be saying to my European colleagues that the people of Europe find it incomprehensible that Europe does not seem to be in a position to pressure on Israel and leverage on Israel to stop this war in Gaza, stop the continuing slaughter of children and innocent civilians. The war must stop. There must be a humanitarian response and a surge of humanitarian aid into Gaza, an end to the blockade.
I'm going to have to interrupt Mayhole for this comment here. Yes, thought you couldn't get any higher in my estimation than you start reciting early Metallica. The second gig, this is just off topic, why the hell not? The second gig I ever attended was Metallica and Danzig in a leisure centre in Antrim, County Antrim, back in October 1988. So there you go, 1974 AF. My second gig was Metallica and Danzig at a leisure centre in Northern Ireland on the Damaged Justice tour. I was only 15. My first gig was in the same leisure centre in May 88. I saw Megadeth playing with a band called Sanctuary. Yes, Fanula, Glenn Danzig. Glenn Danzig. Let's talk about Glenn Danzig. For those of you who don't know, he was famously in a band called the Misfits, who Metallica were very big fans of. In fact, if you look at the inner sleeve of Master of Puppets, I think you'll see James Hetfield and Cliff Burton or Kirk Hammett wearing Misfits t-shirt. And another little bit of trivia for you. I used to play guitar in a Misfits tribute band back in the early 90s called the Astro Zombies. So there you go. So yeah, I'm a metalhead, die hard metalhead through and through. Twisted Cane, yes. Twisted Cane, the intro track from Danzig's debut album, recorded and released in 1988 with Rick Rubin doing production duties. And here's another little bit of trivia. Dry Boaks, I'm not sure if you know this one or not, but James Hetfield from Metallica actually does backing vocals on 2 tracks on the first Danzig album. One of them is called Possession, I think. And the other one could well be Twisted Cane. So there's a little bit of trivia for you. James Hetfield actually sings backing tracks at those. You were at both those gigs, Sean O'Kane. Are you serious? You were at both those gigs in the Antrim Forum, May 1988 and October 1988. Well, that's a small world. I was at them both as well. Here we go. We're getting into it now. Holy Wars was written in Dublin, thanks to Dave Mustaine getting a pound thrown at him. Actually, the Holy Wars was written after the Antrim Forum gig, which is the first gig I ever attended, where Mustaine was drunk as a skunk, and he was his security people were stopping kids selling knockoff merchandise in the car park of the Antrim Forum, and I can say this because I was there. Okay, and they were told stop selling knockoff merchandise, and they said we're selling it for the cause. And Dave Mustaine came out. He asked what the cause was, and they told him about the troubles, Britain and Ireland, and he was given a little lesson that night, and then he got up on the stage before he played Anarchy in the UK, and then he started on a rant about giving Ireland back to the Irish, and because it was in a predominantly unionist, loyalist area, that didn't go down too well, so Mustaine had to be taken away by armoured escort down to Dublin. So Holy Wars, the song Holy Wars, The Punishment Due, was actually written after the Antrim Forum gig in May 1988, and then it appeared on their Rust in Peace album. It appeared on their Rust in Peace album. Yes, Stairway to Heaven first debuted at the Ulster Hall in the 1970s. That's true. I was aware of that one as well. Yes, it's enough metal trivia for now, folks. Let's get back to Mr. Burns. Yes, so that's a little, it doesn't take much, guys, to distract me away from all this crap, to be honest with you. So if you start talking about classic movies or music, Micheál disappears into the distance. So let's get rid of him out of the studio. So someone mentioned about other protests that are happening at this time, at the minute. So two that I'm aware of, and this is not exhaustive. These are just two that have come to my attention that are happening this weekend. The first one of which is in Drogheda. Yeah, I've got the pronunciation down now. Drogheda. First one is in Drogheda Leisure Centre, Marley's Lane, Saturday, the 20th of June at 2 p.m. So if you're in that area, or you can make it to that get together on Saturday afternoon at 2 p.m., then please consider doing so. So that's in Drogheda this Saturday. Another one that's happening over the course of the weekend is in Dundalk. So Dundalk Says No, Peaceful Assembly. Sunday the 29th at 4 p.m, meeting at the square. Bring your flags. Enough is enough. So those are two that are coming up this weekend. And there was one tonight in Kinnegad. John was on, just leaving some information about that one. And let's bring up something about the GPO, and I'm gonna finish soon because I said it would only be on for about an hour or so. So hold tight, folks, just for another 5 minutes, and we'll get this one wrapped up. And also, if you can, because I miss a lot of comments when I'm doing the actual live stream here, I'm sure I've missed a lot of great comments. When the video uploads, which it should do pretty quickly after I finish the live stream, if you have left a comment or something that you wanted to bring to my attention, leave a comment under the uploaded video, the non-live one, okay, and I'll pick up on it and I'll try and respond to it later on, okay. And don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it as well, because it all helps. It all helps, folks. So let's wrap this one up with Mary Lou McDonald. You know, why not? We've talked about Metallica, we've talked about Micheál Martin, we've talked about the Misfits. Speaking of the Misfits, let's talk about Sinn Féin. Dublin's iconic GPO building, you know, the home of the lefties, the unwashed left, Fraggle Rock. If there's a protest in Dublin, you don't need to worry, Agnes, you don't need to mute anything. I'm not going to play Mary Lou speaking, just going to talk about what she said here about the GPO. Mary Lou McDonald says plans to revamp the GPO as mixed-use cultural hub is a betrayal of history. You know, surely that's what Dublin has become. Surely that's what Ireland's become. Is Ireland not just one big cultural hub right now? Mary Lou says plans to revamp the GPO as mixed-use cultural hub is a betrayal of history. Similar to how Temple Bar was revitalised, a special body is to be set up to drive improvements across the city. So a cultural hub, the GPO, that famous building in O'Connell Street, is to become a cultural hub. Now listen to this. This'll wind a lot of you up. If you don't peek at the bottom of the screen here to see what it might be. In fact, stuff it. I'll give you a spoiler alert. Look at the last paragraph. Despite a number of proposals being made to the task force, including a suggestion it becomes home to the public broadcaster RTE, it did not make a determination on the redevelopment. So they're throwing that one around, that the GPO building in O'Connell Street is potentially going to be, or was going to be potentially, a home for RTE, the Irish government state broadcasting propaganda arm. Can you believe that? Sinn Féin leader MacDonald described the plans as another shameful betrayal of Ireland's proud revolutionary history. What do you reckon, folks? Do you agree with our Mary Lou on this one? Has she got a brass neck on her, talking about shameful betrayals? Martin got government sign-off to revamp the iconic building as a flagship project with cultural, retail and office elements. Cultural element of the GPO. Retail? What are they going to sell in there? Little stuffed leprechauns? Chili lays? I don't know. What are they going to sell? Little pots of gold with leprechauns and rainbows? Office elements. Revamp will form part of a wider roadmap to revitalise Dublin City and bring last year's task force recommendations to life. The redevelopment of the building that housed the 1916 Easter Rising has long been speculated on, with the task force recommending it be used as a major public building with greater public importance. Well, it already has public importance. It's just being suppressed. Just communists standing outside it now with tables handing out Marxist literature, or people queuing outside it to get benefits or plan a mugging. It still has cultural importance, but for all the wrong reasons now, sadly. Despite a number of proposals being made, including a home that it would be home to broadcaster RTE, it didn't make a determination on the redevelopment. So Croke Park, yes, Graham Byrne mentions Croke Park as well. I'll highlight a few of these comments here. GPO, Croke Park, what's next? Well, what is next? What is next? What else can they do? I mean, if they get the GPO and they get Croke Park, what's the other one? Knock Shrine's another big one. The Blarney Stone, Blarney Castle, the Cliffs of Moher. I'm just trying to think here. What else are they going to try and get their claws into? What else are they going to get their claws into? Roll Me Shadow says the Aviva. Yeah, well, maybe, but that doesn't have anywhere close to the cultural and heritage significance of these other sites. I think we're looking more at, sites of great cultural significance to Ireland. So yeah, GPO vape shop. Yeah, GPO barbers. You could go in there for a wax, get your nose done, like those little pieces of cotton wool and smack you in the ear with it. It could be used for that. But what else is there? The Falls Road, well, yeah, it's already being repurposed. A lot of people already moved into that area, and Sinn Féin are shoveling them in. The locals seem to be happy enough with it, at least some of them do. Bridget Walsh said, I was a partial refund from Croke Park visitor experience because I was prohibited from walking on the pitch. Well, if you'd have brought a mat with you and wanted to kneel on the pitch and shriek loudly, we shouldn't have been any problem with that. Sinn Féin has already wrecked the Falls Road. Yep. Yeah, the Blarney Stone. I've kissed the Blarney Stone. Can you believe that? Judging by the way I never shut up. I've been talking solidly now for an hour and 20 minutes, literally without a pause. Is it because I kissed the Blarney Stone? I think I was already a talker before I kissed it. And then when I kissed it, it kind of pushed me into overdrive. So if you can and you want the gift of the gab, get yourself down to Blarney Castle and get smooching. You have to hang upside down and hold on to these iron bars and lean backwards over the Blarney Stone. Beware though, there's a bloke at the top of there. He has to grab you around the waist. Make sure you don't fall down. You know, some of these guys are notorious for copping a fail. No one tried it with me, by the way. 1974 says Tom Araya for Taoiseach. Yeah, that would be something else, wouldn't it? Tom Araya. I was on MTV Headbangers Ball with Slayer in 1994. There's another trivia for you. If you look up, actually go on to YouTube, look up Slayer Belfast 94. There's an interview with them before their Ulster Hall concert with Machine Head and Downset. And I'm actually, if you watch carefully when Kerry King's being introduced with Tom Araya, I'm sitting there in the background with a big grin on my face because we were in the bar whenever they came in and shot that. Slayer, Ulster Hall, December 1994, Divine Intervention Tour. And I met Pantera in Belfast as well. I've got a signed Dimebag Darrell poster before he was shot. No, I didn't see Alice in Chains. I didn't go and see them. I wasn't that keen on them, to be honest with you. KO. So anyway, yeah, a little bit of metal for you. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Leave a comment under the uploaded version of this video. And of course, feel free to share this, cut and paste the link, share the stream out. Probably won't do any more until at least next Monday night. And then I'm going to pare it down and maybe only going to do one, maximum of 2 live streams a week. It's just I enjoy doing them. It's a bit of crack for me, and it's a bit of a change from just staring at the camera, which I still do, but at least I'm interacting with you guys as I'm doing this. So that's why I do this live stream, to be honest. It's enjoyable. It's great to see the comments. It's great to see you all bantering amongst yourselves, and it's nice and tight, you know, tight. No one's wasting no one in here, and that is the way things ought to be. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it for now. Thanks to everyone for leaving a comment. Thanks to everyone for sharing the comments. Thanks to everyone who supported the channel with a little financial gift here tonight. It is much appreciated. Tina Tickety Boo, thank you also for the info on Clonmel. And for now, I'm Rick Munn. This is No Risk, No Reward Media, and I'm going to hit end stream, and then that's it all over. So good night. God bless each and every one of you. That's me, over and out.